everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Murungi. Welcome to our podcast, Hapapule.
Hey y'all, this is Fatou. Welcome to our podcast.
Today we are going to talk about living in Japan, but from a religious perspective. And we are glad we are joined with very interesting brothers and sisters. We'll start with the lady. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley. I am from Zimbabwe. I
hmm
am so glad to be having this podcast with you guys. It's a new experience for me, so I'm quite excited about this. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. Then we'll
Thank
have
you for me.
we'll have our other brother from the northern part of Japan.
Hello, my name is Edrisa. Some people call me Eddie. I am from the Gambia and currently in Obihiro doing a PhD. Yeah, so Obihiro, Hokkaido, yes. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And my brother, Papa, please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone. This is Daniel Zandamela from Mozambique. Nice to meet you.
So, guys, without further ado, please tell us more about your religious affiliations and, most importantly, at what age did you start understanding religion as a concept in your life? We'll start with the lady. The ladies, Ashley.
Oh, okay. Um, well, to start, I was born in a Christian family. My parents have always been Christians um, from way back. So basically, my whole family has a Christian background. But as I grew up, I then went to an Adventist school. That was how I then became more affiliated to Adventist. So there's Christianity as a whole, then there's Adventism, like Seventh Day Adventist Church. That's where I go to. And here in Japan, there is a Seventh Day Adventist church close to where I live. So it has been quite easy for me to have like a transition from being an Adventist back home and being an Adventist here in Japan. So in that area, I did not face any challenges at all. I was quite fortunate to be able to find my church here.
Is the community feeling the same as back home?
It's a bit different because of language.
Oh,
It's a bit different because
Yeah.
of language, but they have to come up with an international group for international people from all over the world. So the international group is comprised of people from Jamaica, Philippines, Indonesia, like Kenya,
interesting.
United Kingdom, United States of America. Yeah. So I think because of the international group, church also became easier for us because we can at least worship together and understand.
Okay, I see. What about you, Fatu?
For me, yeah, I was also born in a Muslim family. Um, my mom and dad were Muslims. Previously, my dad was a Christian, but he converted, and then before marrying my mom, he became a Muslim. That's why I have the surname Williams.
I
But
see.
yeah, but I was brought up in a Muslim home. We went to school. The school was like a Christian school, but after school we usually have Arabic classes
Oh,
where we study Quran. So that is always the daily thing. Like after school, we have the Quran study. So through that, we were able to learn a lot about the Quran. The Quran is the holy book for Muslims, and so through that, that's how I was brought up. And coming to Japan, um, already I already learned the Quran. But with regards to religious practices like praying and fasting, I still uphold those. I still pray 5 times a day. I still fast and do the daily things as a Muslim, basically. Yeah. So coming to Japan, nothing has changed much with regards to how I practice my faith. So yeah.
Well, I personally feel like I might be a mixture of all of you guys combined. uh, my, it's really interesting. My maternal grandfather was Muslim, then he converted to Christian. Then, before he passed away, he converted to the faith of unity. But my mom, therefore, grew up in a mostly Christian environment. My dad, on the other hand, he did grow up in a Catholic, not just Christian, Catholic, staunch Catholic family. But I think as men in the African society, religion is not so ingrained in them. I don't know, at least from where I come from. So my dad is not really practicing. He's like, yo, this God thing, I really don't get it. I live one day at a time and we see what happens. So when we were younger, we went to church, but my mom later converted to Faith of Unity. And as children, usually you follow your mother. So we also started practicing in the Faith of Unity. My father had a few issues here and there, but I think now he has let life be. But the other thing is that I grew up in a mostly Muslim neighborhood. My neighborhood was filled with Muslims. There was a mosque. Like 90% of our neighbors were Muslims. So, and actually, one of my childhood friends, like one of my best friends from childhood, is Muslim. So I kind of feel like I had a bit of both worlds.
But
A little bit.
okay.
A little bit of both worlds. I went to a Catholic high school for 6 years, and some of the rules were like, oh, you're not supposed to convert people, or you're not supposed to tell people about your religion. So we're all we're all forced to practice the Catholic way.
Okay.
So, and there were nuns in the school. Anyone who's gone to a school with nuns knows the ups and downs. Yeah? So, yeah, for me, that is basically my life. But right now, I believe in God. I just
Yeah.
believe in God. Yes. Idris, what about you?
Idrisa?
Is it me? Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, because the network is not very strong right now. Yes, actually, like for me too, I was born in a Muslim family. My family has been Muslims as far as I can remember, for in the my family progeny for many generations. So, and my dad is a very devoted Muslim. So when I was growing up, I actually didn't. I can't remember when I started becoming like knowing religion. I grew up knowing about religion, and where I was brought up, it was actually Islam, the only religion in the area. Many people there are Muslims. Even in my primary school, we had like an Islamic teacher, like an Arabic, like he teaches about the Quran and about Islam. So I didn't know much about Christianity until in the junior school. Then I started having interaction with like Christians in my school. Then that's how I get to know about other religions. So
Okay.
when I was young, coming before I entered like primary one, my dad wanted to take me to the madrasa. Like madrasa is the informal Islamic schools that
Yeah.
there are people. Some places like in the Gambia there are like the Islamic scholars that teach people about Islam. So in where I live at the time, there was a big village there, so they have so much of those. So I see those kids, they were suffering because they don't live with their parents, so they live with only their Islamic school teacher, and he cannot cater for their needs because there are about hundreds of kids under one person. So when my dad tell me about that, because I was having like a half brother, he will say like how he will take that guy to school and he will take me to madrasa, then I will be crying because I will say I'm gonna be suffering.
Yeah.
So I used to be so because there's a big a religious town in southern Senegal called Medina Guna. So he said he was gonna take me there because he has some relatives in that school. So he said he's gonna take me there. So at the time when I thought about it, I used to be crying. So, but just a year before that happened, I got sick because I was so prone to malaria and illness. So he decided, he said, it's not safe to take you away from home. You may get sick and then may be detrimental to you. So he decided to take me to school.
I
So
see.
that's how I become, uh, went to English formal school. So but then I was also learning the Quran at home. Then I also study about my religion. So in high school, that's where I get interacted with many Christians. For instance, because I was living in a boarding school in my high school. So my junior boy, like when I was in grade 12, 11, then a junior, like a grade 10 come, then he would be under my care, like my junior boy. So he was a Christian. So there he
So
has a
happy.
Bible. So sometimes I will read his Bible, you know. Then that's how I know a lot about Christianity also. So then him also, like my grade 12 also, his junior also was also a Christian. So, then both of them. So we are very close together. So that guy, we become very close. Recently, he is a Muslim now because like 2 years ago we get contact. He changed his name, so he told me now he's a Muslim. I don't know why, but he's
Okay.
now a very devoted
Mm.
Muslim. So then that's
But
how I get exposed
Idrissa,
to the religion. Mm.
how has your faith changed or improved when you came back to when you came to Japan? Has anything
Yeah,
changed with
in
regards to your
Japan,
practices?
actually, yeah, for me, like personally, to be a Muslim in Japan is not easy for me. That's how I see it. It doesn't mean like Japan society, they don't discriminate you. There is nothing about discrimination or anything. But because of the overwhelming population of the country is not Muslim, and so it's very hard, for instance, from the food and even prayers. For instance, like a Muslim should pray 5 times a day. So when I leave my house, it's very difficult to find a place to pray. You know, I find it uncomfortable just to go around, and start praying. Like in Gambia,
Mm.
because overwhelming population of the country is Muslim, so you can go just walk into someone's house and tell them I want to pray. They will give you water, and they will give you a space to pray. You can
All
go,
right
you can
now,
also
what do you
ask.
do? How do you
So
go about
normally,
praying
so
five
normally,
times a day?
pardon?
How do you go about praying 5 times a day?
Yeah.
I
How?
So
mean,
if I go out of my house, if I didn't find a place, for instance,
mhm.
if I'm not going to someone else's house,
Mm.
or like maybe to go and lodge in a hotel, I have to, I cannot pray within that, until I get back home. So that is really difficult for me. That's really, really difficult, finding a place. And also the food,
Mm.
because most Japanese food is not halal,
Yes.
or even if it is like seafood, which is presumed halal, but it is sometimes cooked in the same, fryers with non-halal foods, for instance, pork. So that is really difficult. And they also use a lot of uh, how do you call it, alcohol in their food. Many Japanese food have some alcohol content in it. There are a lot of sake and others in their food, so that
Mm.
makes it non-halal for Muslims to eat.
I see, I
Even
see.
yes, so that is something that is really, really hard.
Right.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
Wilson, what has been your experience? What is your religious background like, and how has it changed?
Coming
Or
to Japan. Mm.
Okay. First of all, my Christianity was a little bit complicated because I was born in a Catholic church.
mm,
My family is all Catholic, and that's how I grew up. And then suddenly, when I was 23, 24 years old, I decided to convert to the Protestant church. So, being Pentecostal, this changed a lot of things in my life because first I had to deal with my family who was like completely Catholic, and then now I'm believing in a different perspective of Christianity, of course. So now I believe on Holy Spirit. I believe on libertation. I believe on all this move of the Holy Spirit. So
right.
when I came to Japan, I was in the beginning of my new experience on my uh, new Christianity, talking about being Pentecostal. So I
So
was used.
that just before you came to Japan, or it had been years before?
Yeah, 3 years before I was Pentecostal. 3 years before I came to Japan, I was
Wow.
Pentecostal. So when I arrived in Japan, I was Pentecostal, and I was expecting like finding a church that make the noise that I'm used to, like people pray the way I used to do, you
You know,
know.
in my
And
country,
then
they're trying to put like should I say a minimum level of noise from Pentecostal churches because the neighbors constantly complain. I don't know.
Oh.
yeah. So I was used to that. For me, church was a place that I will see people crying. I'll see
Wow.
demons. I'll see like a noise. I will listen to music, like loud music, those kind
Mm.
of things. So
Yeah.
when I came here, like in Assembly of God, the same movement in Japan was completely different. First was the language barrier. I'm from Mozambique, as I told you, and I used to speak Portuguese in my country, and then now I have to attend to this service in English. Was really challenging for me. Secondly, some I changed a lot of church when I arrived. I tried to find which one suit a little bit more to my personality. So the first one was the the pastor was very quiet for me, and the church was
Mm.
so organized for me.
Was he
So
Japanese?
yeah, which was not good for me because, you
Mm.
know, in Japan, people will control time for praying, time for singing, and like,
Oh.
After prayer,
okay, the Holy Spirit must control everything. That's how it used to be in Africa. You know, if I feel like how I want to pray a little bit more, I want to pray a little bit more. If, you know, yeah, but
Yeah.
here was everything control. Like you'll have 5 minutes to sing, you'll
Yeah.
have like 5 minutes to pray, and then
Mm.
usually back in Mozambique we can pray like 30 minutes, 1 hour,
yeah.
and then that's not even enough for us. But here you pray like just 5 minutes in the beginning of the service, and then after the ceremony he will close like praying like for 3 minutes. So I was
Wow.
feeling that okay, I think I'm wasting my time coming here.
Oh
So then I
no.
changed
Feel the Holy
to
Spirit
um,
descending upon you.
another place, and then I realized that this is Japan, and they are all the same. They have their own culture and their own way to praise God, and then I start connecting with other Christians. So we started having like a gathering. I have a friend who is Canadian, who is Christian also, and
Mm.
then connecting with different kind of Christians in Japan helped it a little bit to understand the Christianity deeply, because in Africa I can believe, like in my country especially, I can believe that we are trained to believe that we belong to a church which is better than another. We believe that
Mm.
okay, this is my church, this is my
Mhm.
pastor, this is
Mhm.
my people, this is my custom, this is my tradition, because in your church you can't wear this, you can't wear that, we do this and then you don't do that. So here I started realizing that I was wrong. We are the same, we are Christians,
Mhm.
and we are all the same in the
Mhm.
eyes of God. So we don't need to fight. We can survive without fighting, and we don't need this church thing to gather and so on and so forth. So I started
Okay.
having this meeting with friends, and then we had dinner, and then we started praying, and yeah. So this was my experience so far.
Mm.
So do you go to a particular church or do you have the gathering somewhere with the people that you are?
Oh yeah, actually now I'm not going to a certain church. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just having this gardening with friends, and then I attend some
Okay.
events, specific events.
Is it
Yeah.
always on Sunday, or you guys just decide when you have time, then you gather?
Mm.
Usually we have our meetings on Thursday, so we
Ah,
don't have like Sundays. So everything has changed a lot. Everything
Oh,
changed like
I
completely.
see.
I was used to go like to a church every day, like 5 times a week, or sometimes even 7 days a week. And
oh.
then here in Japan, I started like developing self. How can I say? Now I can pray with my family. I'm
Mm.
living with my wife and my kid, and then we can have our own service at home.
You know,
So that's good for me.
in relation to that, Japan seems to welcome very many other religions or more like religious events, something that we might find a bit strange because it's okay, Uganda is sort of we've come to a point whereby we celebrate when it's Eid. We're all waiting for the moon. Like, when is the moon coming out? It better be on a Friday so that we can have a holiday. So maybe Christians may not maybe Christians may not really celebrate Eid, but we celebrate the holiday, right?
Mm-mm.
When it's Christmas, the Muslims are happy because it's a holiday, not because it is Christmas. So coming to Japan, I felt like they're just welcoming everything. Valentine, Christmas. I'm waiting to see if they'll invite Eid and Easter to make it some sort of holiday. How did you view that when you came to Japan? Because I personally found them celebrating Christmas a bit
Christmas. Mm.
strange. I find it a bit strange.
Yeah, that was the most amazing experience that I had here, because I was the first time I attended a Eid ceremony was here in Japan in my school. The Muslim organized the Eid part, and then a friend, actually Fatou, invited
How
me,
big
and then
was it?
I joined, and it was really nice. We had a really good food there, so I started attending to the Eid. I went there in 2017, and then last year also, yeah, because the food is good. Um, uh, yeah, that was really interesting.
Well
And
said. Are you
then
saying that people in Mozambique are predominantly Christian, like you have a very, very small Muslim population, or is it non-existent?
it's half half, but I'm from the south part, which is more Christian than, like, the north part is completely Muslim. So we
So
have like
the
half and half.
probability of your neighbor being Muslim is almost zero where you
Yeah,
come
yeah, yeah.
from.
Yes, yes.
See.
Only the elites like the Indians and
Mm.
those who are controlling business, and some immigrants who are Muslims. Yeah.
What about you, Ashley? How is it like in Zimbabwe?
In Zimbabwe, Christians are the dominant group, and Muslims are a minority group.
Mm.
So the possibility of me having a Muslim neighbor is close to zero. But
Mm.
there are, of course, there are like people like here and there.
Mm.
So my experience with the Muslim religion began when I came to Japan and when I met Fatu. That's when I learned. That's when I started learning and appreciating and understanding more and more about them. Other than that, I just I knew that they fasted and they
Mm.
wore like the hijab and all,
Yes, yes, yes,
but
yes.
like the details I didn't have. I didn't know anything about
So Wilson and Ashley, you guys, your eyes have opened up to, you know, other religions
Yeah,
being
yeah, yeah,
people, not
completely. Yeah,
not really being defined by their religion. What about you,
yeah.
Idris?
I thank Japan for that.
I can
I thank
imagine
Japan.
in Hokkaido,
Yeah.
I don't know the percentage of Muslims there, but I can imagine it's extremely, extremely low. How has interacting with people from, I don't know, India who are Buddhists, Indonesia who are mixed up, Philippines that are mostly Christian, how has that changed your perspective of life?
Well, as I said earlier, because I interacted with Christians in the Gambia, like in Gambia, though Christians are a very small population, but you will hardly find a Gambian Muslim that doesn't have a Christian friend, very, very close friends. Because like in Gambia, the relationship between Muslims and Christians is very cordial. Like we visit each other often. People have like their Muslims, they have sometimes their best friends are from Christian, and if for instance in Muslims feast like Eid, you would invite your Christian friends to home and eat and party together. So in Christmas time also you do the same, and in Easter we will all look forward to having their what they prepare normally, the food they prepare called nanburu to drink always, so
Coming
that
to
is
Japan,
so in Japan here.
with the whole Christmas and Valentine, all these Christian related events. What was your reaction like then?
Yeah, for instance, like because of when I came initially, I think I was maybe the maybe only there were about two Muslims in the African community. So they organized a Christmas party. So we went there and graced the occasion. So they had some present giving and all that. So those things are actually not very new to me because I interacted with Christians and also met some people also who are very religious, like sometimes Hindus from India. A friend from India here who is very nice guy, very nice to me. I meet other Muslims also, but so for Japanese, they are not very religious people. They may tell you they believe in that, but they actually not very religious. Yes. So I remember one time, I traveled out of Japan. It was a conference. Then I met this Indian guy. So we were in a barbecue. Then I just told him, okay, here is meat. Then I said, oh, I'm sorry, you don't eat this, cow meat. He said, no, 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 I don't care. I eat. I'm not that religious person. So those are some of the things that I met here.
Yeah. Just to add on to Idrissa, for example, back home in the Gambia, with Christians and Muslims living together. Like I'm on my dad's side. My aunts are Christians. I've been to church so many times. So it's like we live together in so much harmony that like we celebrate each event together. Christmas, everyone is happy. Everyone has decorations. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim or Christians. So coming to Japan and seeing that the Japanese, they also celebrate these holidays, it's nothing new. It's just like being able to coexist with each other in the same place, and that's just what we feel coming here and then experiencing Japanese also celebrating these events.
Yeah.
I personally, despite the fact that I come from, mixed communities, as I say, the possibility of your neighbor being from a different religion is quite high and people really live in harmony. I was actually shocked because I know that Japanese, as you already mentioned, are not really religious people, so to speak. So I was like, this is a little bit strange. Why are they celebrating all these things? But now I've gotten used to it. I think it's
I think
of
yeah.
inclusivity.
I think one thing about the Japanese celebrating, for instance, Christmas is my personal perception is because of the business community. They just want to drive their businesses, so they use all that, to sell their products, to the people, Well, it's actually good and fun. Yes, that's what I believe. But one thing that also about the being a Muslim here, for instance, during the Eid, because they don't have religious holidays. So, you have to go and pray, then you rush home, undress, and go go back to class. So, go back to the lab. So that is something very unusual for me before coming to Japan. But, since I'm in a new environment, so I have learned to cope, and accept, what I have here, Yes.
As you've already mentioned, the Japanese really don't have a religion, so to speak. Of course,
Yeah.
when a child is born, they'll have all these ceremonies. When
Mm-hmm.
they're getting married, they have all these ceremonies. They have all these, Buddhist and Shinto mix.
That's
But
right.
That's right.
when you compare, for example, religious practices to where we
Mm-hmm.
come from, I feel like Africans are really, really religious people, like
That's
really religious people.
yeah.
And when you compare to the Japanese, it's like if it's a scale of 0 to 10, Africans are on a 12.
Mm.
Japanese are like on a -5, kinda. So,
Yeah.
but you see how they behave towards people, how they behave towards each other. What has that triggered in your mind? In my case, many of you who are from like dominant Christian communities or these other religions where you have pastors,
Mm.
you've had pastors doing all kinds of things and blah blah blah, very dramatic things, and maybe people who are too religious
Mm-hmm.
actually turning
Mm.
out to be the corrupt officials, turning out to be the rapists, turning out to be all these bad things. But in the case of Japan, they really are not religious people, but I feel like, first of all, they are more honest,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they follow the rules, you know, their system seems to be working without really having religion. How did that hit you? Like when you realize, yo, these guys don't even know God exists, but they are doing everything all the other religions say, but they don't really have a religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, for me,
How
can I
did,
say something?
yes,
Y-
yes.
Yeah, without disrespect to their culture and their traditions, when I came here initially, when I observed the Japanese society, I interacted with them. So when I talk to my family, I'm like, these Japanese, you believe sometimes you are with them is like if they are Muslims. Because for instance, well, what they practice and do is what actually my religion teaches. That yes,
But then you don't follow.
yes, but then they didn't practice. So I believe that, for instance, like they are former, like, because most of the religions have uh, the same roots, of teaching kindness, of being honest, of being, disciplined, respectful to others, and being helpful. So I think they are this current culture emanated from that religion that their forefathers were believing in. So they kept it in their society. So that's what I actually believe. Because if you look at their really their society, it's actually in agreement with many of the religions teachings, all the religions what they teach, but it's what the people practice. You can be religious or you pretend to be religious, but you are not actually practicing what your religion is telling you. So it happens. So I
Yeah.
believe that's what the Japanese society, because they are a homogeneous society and they are an island.
Mhm.
They are free from foreign influence and all that. So they kept that tradition in them. you know so I think the society has such religious roots
Yeah.
that
What
teaches them.
about you,
Yeah.
Ashley? How did you compare
Mm.
them not really believing in God, so to speak, and the religious situation in Zimbabwe?
I found the I found that the Japanese society is amazing, and it's
Mm.
full of
Yeah.
surprises. Like you would expect them to behave like people who are not Christians or like who are non-religious, but
Mm,
they actually have the core values that are affiliated towards religion, like Eddie has said. So
Mhm.
I respect them because even though they do not know about religion, they are still very good. They are still kind, they're generous, they're respectful, they
mm,
they care for the other person, like caring for the other person the same way you care for yourself, like
mm.
love your neighbor the way you love yourself, all that.
Right.
So I don't understand how they do it.
Right? I
I,
also
I,
keep
I really
asking
don't
myself the
understand how
same
they
question.
do it, but I am just so glad because even if they're not religious, look at the crime rate. The crime
Yeah,
rate is low.
that is true.
But we expect this to be the opposite case because they are not religious, but it's actually amazing. Crime rate is low, and the way they raise their kids, they have all these rules governing how they raise their kids. It's also similar, like in a religious setting, where there are rules which govern how kids should behave, but they don't have that. So I find it amazing, and I don't understand it.
Right, right.
I don't understand it.
Mhm.
Wilson, what has been your perspective, your thoughts on this whole, you know, Japanese people not being really religious, but turning out to be better human beings in certain.
Yeah, yeah. I think the big problem of religion is religiosity, which means when you care more, or like when you give attention to your own religion and not to another people and not loving others, you may think that you're better than other, and then the conflict will start. So as Ashley was saying, here people tend to respect more the human beings, the other human beings, and they tend to love and respect than caring about uh, their identity or caring about your religion. So I think that is really important. The Japanese society, they don't judge you, like, for instance, firstly we tend to judge people. Okay, are you Muslim?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
Christian? And for them that's not important. What's important is, like, you are a human being like me, and then I will respect you, I will treat you with respect that you deserve. I feel embarrassed a lot of time when I meet brothers and sisters, and the first question that the person will ask me is like, are you Muslim? Sometimes I feel offended, like, are you Muslim? Or are you Christian? Is that important? Is that the first thing that you want to know? Like, my name is not important. Where I come from is not important for you. So you want to know if I'm Christian, I'm Muslim. So I think that is the difference. In Japan, the first thing people care is like, what's your name, where you come from.
They
That's
want to know the
important.
individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
It's
mean, just to add on to Wilson, I believe the simple answer is respect. Japanese respect everything, whether it's something living or not living. For example, when
Yeah.
you go out and eat with a Japanese, how they treat the food, how they even after they are done, the plate, how it looks like they treat everything with respect. And I think they just channel that with regards to people, regardless of your religion or how you look or anything of that sort. So I think the base answer is basically they just show respect to everything and anything. So yeah.
I think also some people who pretend to be very religious, there's also an overwhelming number of people also who are religious in quote, but they don't know their religion. So when they act, people believe it's their religion that is actually teaching them such things, you know. So that is also, that is something also that should be put into consideration. So in the Japanese society, it's like you are brought up in the system, you are trained to act like that, So you develop with such characters, Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in other religions, people don't know about their religious books and all that. So, so I think that's also something.
Yeah, I think that brings us to the question like, how has your religion shaped you while living in Japan?
Mm,
yeah.
So for me, being a Muslim, there are some things I don't do. Like
mm,
my religion is like a way of living. So
yes.
it has shaped my relationships with regards
Mm,
to how I interact with people,
mm,
how I talk to people. Being a Muslim, it brings out something in me, a lot of things in me. So it has affected a lot of things in the way I live, even the food I eat and a lot of other things. So
mm-hmm.
how about you guys? How has your religion shaped you in a bit in Japan here? Ashley?
Um, uh, uh, well, like you have said, religion has also shaped the way I live because, okay, for example, here in Japan, the Japanese people are quite liberal with food and alcohol. They eat, they drink, and it's normal for even teenagers and college students. But back home, it's a taboo. Like, how can you be drinking alcohol and you're a teenager? No, it doesn't happen. So I've been able to actually like continue upholding my values, to like set myself apart, and like being able to tell them, no, I don't drink, no, I don't eat this, no, I don't I don't wear this, or all that.
Yeah.
Easy, the pressure of being asked to try something new, eat this,
Yeah.
that. But because of my religious values, I have just been able to say no. I
Yeah.
don't do this. I don't go to these functions, and
Yeah.
also about food, their religion. I've
Yeah.
had some invitations to go and worship to their temple and their god, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's idolatry. I cannot
That
do
is true. That is
I
Yeah.
very
cannot do
true.
that.
I
True.
feel
True.
I just have been able to like uphold my values, and it has like protected me from, I don't know, places and know,
Yeah.
experience that may be harmful to me.
I see.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. For example, like as a Muslim, I don't drink, and coming to Japan, I still continue to not drink. I don't drink alcohol. I don't eat pork. Intentionally, I don't eat pork. Sometimes, like that's one of the challenges in Japan with regards to eating pork. Like a lot of their food has pork, so you have to always ask what is in there. So I don't eat pork, and the only thing is that with regards to food, um, halal. Not a lot of things are halal, so you have to compromise a little bit with regards to halal and non-halal. I think we'll talk about that later with regards to our challenges. Yeah.
I personally, I will not lie to you, but I've had a bit of a questioning my faith. I've, I've really had some sort of awakening battle, and that is mostly because of living in Japan, you see. I'll give you an example. But back home, divine intervention is like, hey, we can't do this. We've met a small problem. We don't want to use our brains. We're calling on to God, It's really got me thinking. I'm like, at what point is divine intervention? Should it come in at the beginning, along the way, or are we as a people too lazy to want to use our brains?